What's up, guys? Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz back again. Another set review. Today we're doing Date a Bullet. This one has been one we've been planning for quite a while. Brandon is finally available, our local Data Live expert. Welcome back, Brandon. You've been on the show before.
Yeah, a few times I have. It's been a pleasure.
Brandon's had Date a Bullet since release, and he's played pretty much every card at least once,
I've probably
I
played.
think.
I've probably played like I've played this deck more than any human ever should.
Yeah, he's played more Data Live than I think anyone I know. He's had it since like both sets came out in Japanese.
Have you seen
So
the movie, Brandon?
Yeah, I have. I
okay, so
have.
he
How's it
knows
good?
the
Well,
lore
the
too.
first of two. I know
Okay,
the
Oh,
first half of the lore. It
okay. Before we jump into
wasn't
it,
that good. I'm not gonna lie.
I wanted to give a quick channel update thing. So a while back, Strictly Broken did a stream where they went and cataloged sort of all the Weiss channels that like both maybe they weren't making content or they were actively making content or whatever stuff like that. And they said they were going to put it on their channel. And then I reached out to Kevin because it wasn't on their channel, and Kevin forgot to publish like their subscribers or whatever. But now that that's out there, I went out and on this channel, I also subscribed to, made sure this account, PGH Weiss Schwarz, is subscribed to all other Weiss Schwarz content creators so that we can support each other. So that if one person finds one Weiss Schwarz video, they can go out and they can find even more Weiss Schwarz content. So if there are any Weiss Schwarz content creators that I missed when I was going around and mass subscribing to everyone on this account, let us know down in the comments. I'm going to say this at the beginning of all of our videos for a bit so that people can put new Weiss Schwarz channels on there, even if you're brand new, even if you don't post Weiss Schwarz content anymore or anything like that. If you have Weiss Schwarz content on your channel, please link it so that we can create like sort of a pseudo database of all other Weiss Schwarz content creators so that we can support each other because that's a good thing. Ape together strong. All right, and now we can get into the actual stuff. So it's just me, Brandon, and Andy today. Brian's power went out. Maybe he'll join us later. Yeah, let's get into it. Not a brainstorm, Andy. First card.
Oh, hooray! We got this Kurumi in church because she's a good girl. When this is played from your hand to the stage, you can pay one, put a date or elemental character from your waiting room onto the bottom of your clock, and search your library for a level 1 or lower character. So it's a Ricky that you, instead of blind clocking yourself, you get any character you want from your waiting room into your clock on the bottom. Seems preferred.
Yep.
Well, what is it? Search your library for up to one level one or lower character.
It's a Ricky for search for level 1 or lower, but you put from waiting room directly into the clock.
Okay, yeah, this the
This
hot seat
card's broken.
translation is a little weird. It's just a Ricky where you can't clock a climax, so it's a lot less dicey to use a lot less dicey to use when you're already level one, right? There's no risk. It can also
No,
help
there's no
color fix
no.
you.
This that's actually the biggest plus of this card actually. So like, it's nice first of all that it goes to the bottom of your clock. So if you need the color requirement for an early play healer later on in the game, you're not going to heal off your color requirement. Um, and it's just overall good color fixing because my experience of playing Dow, it's like you find yourself running piles of multiple colors actually a lot of the times, and this really helps if you have any level 1 combo basically.
For just specifically data bullet stuff, it also doesn't fuck with any of your alarms, which have to be on the top of your clock. Which Kurumi has like
That's
alarm
true.
effects. Weird interaction with this card. So if you like don't have a waiting room, you can't use this card because you're not allowed to use the character you pay out from stock to put into your clock because you like pay all parts of a cost simultaneously. So
Yeah, that's
like
part of the cost.
yeah, so like technically the one that you pay and the card that you put in your clock have to happen simultaneously. So you can't like pay out a character and then put that character from that was previously in your stock into your clock. It's like a pretty weird interaction that only happens with these specific kinds of cards. Because we looked at one in Hololive that did this as well. This like you choose a character to put in clock instead of clocking yourself.
I know the Kurumi early play from set 1 Data Live also has a clock condition.
Yeah, it does.
Dude, so you can like stack that onto the bottom of your clock. It's the Brainstormer.
Yeah,
If you're
the
playing
check
like
X. Yeah,
yellow focus deck.
at least I think it's
I
a
don't
check
know,
S.
Brandon. I remember when you first sleeved this card up. I know you were grumbling a little bit about it because there were some times when you wanted to like Ricky, but you didn't have any characters in your waiting room, and you're like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!"
It only happened, I think, once actually. That almost never happens. I mean, you're literally Dow. You have every deck manipulation tool you could ever want. Like, just play it.
And we're talking about English here too, so there's not even a restriction list to deal with when we're evaluating these
Like,
cards. I don't think it matters too much
really,
for these, but
if you're level 1 and you have no waiting room, play freaking event or 3 or 4 other cards. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking like at level 0, like you got to make sure like you mulligan a
mulligan
character,
a character,
or at least
yeah.
have like an Arisu or something to like facilitate a discard.
If you're at level 0, I don't know how you would never have a character. I mean, you're not going to play this card turn 1 anyways.
Not turn 1, turn 2.
Well, if you want to play Ricky,
Well, if you're
this
turn 2,
yeah. If you want to play Ricky, this is the only Ricky in Dow, like real Ricky in Dow. So they have the one level 0 profile they didn't already have. Pretty nice. I think it's
Must be nice. I think it's like A, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the easy A.
Better than a normal Ricky. Carmen, you did it again!
Oh no, I did it again!
You played
What,
with
not
my
letting you edit?
heart.
Alright, click on the new link. I've updated it. Now you can type in your boxes. I'm sorry.
new link?
The Google the Google share got me again.
Where do I go for this one? Did you post it or something?
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
Reprint
it's in the-
reference channel, yeah.
What? I can't find it. Oh, wait.
We'll get
There
there.
he is.
Okay.
There we go.
I think I'm.
Yeah, you
All
can
right, I
type
can
in
actually
there
put it in
now.
here.
There you go.
S!
Yeah. I put S. Actually, I'll put 2S. You know what? I think this card's super relevant for the deck. Like, if you're running quite literally any level 1 combo that is not standby, you should have 4 of this card in your deck. No ifs, ands, or buts. For Dow.
It is pretty
I'm not even
important,
joking.
yeah.
I've never been more serious about any card in my entire life. This card, if you're running a level 1 combo, you should have 4 of this, not 3, not 2, 4 every time.
Well, I like it even
If
later
you
in the game
don't, you're just
too.
dumb.
Like even later in the game, if you want a Ricky, you don't have to worry about like, taking a damage in the form of a Climax, like on a compressed deck or something. You can kind of like, you can Ricky on like a compressed deck, which is something like you usually can't do.
Mhm.
It could honestly be safer than clocking. Like if you don't want to clock and rip all your Climaxes out of your deck into your
Well,
hand.
that's what I normally do. The plussing cards in the Dow for a lot of Dow's level 1 cards are like super plussing engines. So I've done that several times where I'll literally neglect the clock and then play like a Ricky instead of clock.
Yeah,
I've
if you
done
play
that
it with
several times.
coterie, like there's not a big reason to like actually clock. You're playing coterie because she just rips a bazillion cards for you.
Yeah.
So even better there. Yeah, they have a Ricky now. It's Data Life with a Ricky. All right, I think we can
Yeah,
move
it's like
on.
$15 in JP.
Yeah, it'll probably be expensive in English too, at least the release. All right, Brandon, you can read this one.
All right, if all your characters are basically playing Data Live, this card gets 1,000 power. Core Onyx combo when Choice Climax is placed into the Climax zone and you have another character, you get 2 abilities. The character opposite cannot move to another slot and cannot be sent to memory and cannot be go to your hand and becomes reversed. May salvage a character from your waiting room. So very good against AOT if your opponent decides to ever play that deck again. Or Konosuba, or basically if your opponent plays characters.
Yeah, if your opponent is trying to deny your reverse in some way, this tells them that they're not allowed to do that.
Well,
Doesn't
the
do much
fact it
against
can't go to
standby,
memory
but-
either. The fact that
Yeah.
it can't go to memory either, if they have something like on reverse that like
Goes to memory, yeah.
goes
Character
to
literally
memory.
can't go anywhere. They can't move that character to any position under any circumstance, basically.
Yep. It is just
I mean, I think the card is okay. I mean, like I think the card's good, but if you were any other set, this card I think would be played. Unfortunately, just knowing what other level 1 combos exist in Data Live, it's not seen as much.
Yeah, they got a pretty good one in green, in this new data bullet set.
Yeah, we'll
I
get
guess
to
if you're
those
just
later.
looking
This
at
is like-
straight up just at Kurumi here, like
This
you're
one is
comparing this against the
selective.
Kotori from set 1.
This
What?
one is selective. The Kotori is just like an on attack +2, which is like fucking dumb if we're looking at cards on the same trigger. But like this card is selective, which, and when I'm thinking about Dow level 1 combos, they're all like non-selective, the good ones, right? Like the Toka, the Toka, the Kotori. Neither of them are selective. So if you did need some kind of selection, you go for this. But I say this every time we see cards like this. Don't get too hyped for Marika. It's still just on reverse salvage.
I don't know. This seems like it could be particularly relevant in English, though, more so than in JP.
It depends how
true,
much
because-
Konosuba is played. Yeah.
Or AOT. If you have a high AOT Konosuba locals or something, play the crap out of this card.
Yeah, because you look at JP, there's really not like people still play Konosuba, but you don't really see AOT show up a whole lot. And I feel like a lot. Now this is just completely conjecture on my part, but when you look at like Japanese meta breakdowns and you see AOT lists like in there, I feel like that's more of like the Westerners playing it, like in those big tournaments or whatever, right? Like if you look at Worlds and you
Yeah.
see like AOT getting played in like a JP tournament, I would wager that it's probably a Westerner playing it, because the deck is like very, very AOT is like historically very popular in the English format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even though it's kind of fallen out of favor in JP, I think there's English players who are always going to play AOT.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there will be.
And so there's always that factor, and
twice.
then however Konosuba like swings in and out of the meta, like this could be like a really, really good pick for a level 1 combo if you expect a lot of Konosuba.
I'd say if you're in a JP meta, pick something else. If you're in English meta, pick this. I could see that being a very good argument. Because again, there's a lot of standby in JP, and this card kind of cries when your opponent's playing standby.
Yeah, it's only a 6/5 on reverse combo.
It's like
No.
if you're trying to just do like choice standby with this as the combo, that would be like super obnoxious.
Well,
Like if you just want like a super anti-meta deck, you have the Kurumi finisher, you have this Kurumi that just dunks on certain level 1 combos randomly.
maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to get too hyped for America. I think it's just like okay. Actually, C+ is probably a little bit. I think it's like it's definitely playable, but I don't think the English meta is like correct for this card right now. I think AOT's fallen off enough, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
It's
people
a
will
shame
still
the
play
art's
it.
so good on this card. I love
yeah,
the
the
art. on this
art-
card,
the
just
art
can't
is
be
really
on
good,
a
yeah.
different profile.
Yo, is that the Clock Tower from Clock Tower TCG in the back?
We love the clock tower.
That's the first thing I thought about when I saw the card. I'm like, that looks like
I
the
don't.
Clock
I don't
Tower's
think
background.
their what is it? Their profile like background image. That's the clock tower from Fate, is what that's a reference from. So I don't think this is a crossover with the Fate verse. So I don't think it's the same clock tower. Because the clock tower is like the academy in the Fate verse, right? That's like their channel theme, like teaching you about the game. Cool flavor. That's the
Oh, I
clock tower.
thought it was a joke about like.
Well, that
Clocking.
too, and it's also a joke about clocking. You see, multifaceted. See, their name's a lot cooler than ours. Our name sucks. We just slapped our city on it like we always do. That's what Pittsburghers do. We just slap our city name on shit and say, "Yep, that's ours now. Here's some black and gold."
Let's go.
Yep. All right. Next card. We got this Kurumi 3285. For each of your other back row characters, it's Data Elemental, which is if you're playing Data Live, they're all that. This gains 1,000 power. So it's a 10-5. Alarm. If this is the top card of your clock, you're level 2 or higher, and you have 4 or more other characters. This gains the following ability: Act. pay 2, discard a card, put this at any slot on your stage, and then you put the top card of your deck into your clock. When this is placed from hand to stage, review the effect of Kurumi, Black Closed Spirit, which is its own act effect. To the stage, you heal 1. So this is a lot of text to be a 4 or more early play that you have to clock yourself to play. Does that make sense? Like,
No.
Okay, so this card
I know, yeah.
okay, so you draw it for turn, Andy, right? This is in your hand. You clock it, right? You draw 2, then you fill your board to have 1 open space. Then you pay 2 and discard any card from your hand. Pull this from your clock to the field, and then clock yourself at the top of the deck, and then heal that card that you just randomly clocked off the top of the deck.
Oh wait, this plays from.
It plays out of your clock.
This plays from clock.
This plays from clock, but you take the damage randomly off the top of the deck when it moves out of clock, so it only heals 1. But it is basically a 4 or more heal to waiting room for the same card economy as a heal to stock. No. It's not the same. It's worse than a heal to stock. It's just a 4 or more healer. It's just a 10/5 4 or more healer. That's it.
So I've actually experimented with this card a little bit. I think I experimented for like two sessions. I tried it. This card is absolute crap. This card, I'm going to get. I mean, if you have nothing better, if you don't have red, run this. But I give this card like a solid C minus. Like, so the fact isn't that like the whole point of healer is not damaging yourself. So
Well, don't you like go even on this, or wait, do you do even heal with it?
You go even. Well, you do heal, but
you do heal 1.
Oh no, it's heal. Okay.
You do heal 1, but you can't like not clock and play this card unless it happens to be the top card of your clock. Because this isn't like shift. This can't just like be in your clock and it work. It has to be on top.
It has to be on top.
So you have to clock this card for turn, which is really, really awkward. The only good thing about it is it is technically colorless when played this way, right? You could play this without fulfilling color condition. So if you're in like a really weird deck where you can't facilitate the red Toka early play, which I can't stress this enough, the red Toka early play is almost exactly this card. They are both 10/5s cross turn. The Toka only for 1 turn cycle. This possibly could be longer, but I mean like your card's not living that long. 10/5s especially. So same power line, same early play condition. Toka's red, this is yellow. Both heal to waiting room. You got to be like in a very specific kind of deck to be forced to play this card.
I think it's.
I'd say if this card healed to stock, it would be a lot better. I would consider playing this card more, but
if it was a heal to stock, I think it'd be worth putting up with the having to clock yourself. Just because like Dow doesn't have like an efficient healer early play.
Yeah, I think it's like. I think there's maybe something here, but it seems very built around. Like there's some benefits to this that you don't get with other early play healers. For example, like if you're at like level 2, you take some damage on your opponent's turn, and it comes back around to your turn, and this is on top of your clock. You don't need to have like 2 or less climaxes in a waiting room. You don't need to have like some other condition met. You can kind of just like you can sack into another one of these at level 2 if you just take it as damage.
But that's just, you still have to have 4 or more, Andy, which makes it, again, it's like no
Well,
different.
you would play other cards down, but then you can play it from your clock and like heal. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Like if it's just coincidentally in your clock?
So it can coincidentally end up in your clock from taking damage.
But it has to be on top, Andy. It can't. That's what I said earlier. It can't randomly be in your clock. It has to be on top.
I know that you get lucky. You can luck into it.
You can't play that. That's not a reason to play a card when there's you. It also has to be 4 or more on stage, and there's another card that's 4 or more on stage. Like there's another early play that's 4 or more on stage at the same power line.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Carmen, that was like bullet point number 1. All right, that was number 1.
Okay.
All right, number 2.
Cards like
what?
I was gonna say this card's like 1. it's like one line of text that needs to be erased or added for this card to be playable. Like it either needs to not have a full board condition, or it has to heal to stock for this card to actually be playable.
I don't think the conditions like actually that bad though. Like, it's just different, right? Like, you can get locked off of having 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, and then it's like, shit, I can't early play.
No.
You could
My
always
last
Andy,
card
you
is
list
this card is strictly worse than the Toka.
the Toka already exists though. So why does that point doesn't matter? That's what we're saying.
Is Toka 4 more early play?
Yes, that's what we said it 3 times
yeah.
now.
And you don't have to clock yourself for it or do anything stupid.
Yeah, the fact that you have to clock yourself to make this work or be a disgusting sack is like, yeah, it kills it for me.
Dude, you're missing the design space. You remember all those like weird jank Kurumi cards in the last set and in Fantasia Bunko that like manipulated your clock?
Yes, that is a way.
Here you go.
Yes,
there you go.
That is a way for you to actually heal with this. That is actually the only way for you to legitimately heal with this, is to play all these cards that weirdly manipulate your clock, so that this card is on top, and then you can heal.
Well, here's the thing: the Bunko cards also are off trade. I'm pretty sure.
No. We're talking about set 1 cards.
Bunko cards are not off trade.
There's a set 1 card. They're not off trade.
I think.
No, they're not.
Okay, I'm wrong there then.
Andy's talking about the card from set 1 that lets you either put 2 cards into your clock and then they come out at end of turn from your grave, or like you put 2 cards from your clock into your memory and then they come back at end of turn. So there are ways for you to put this card like from your grave into your clock and then like heal it to field. And yeah, that's really cute, but I'm not going to change my score for that play because that requires you to play an otherwise bad card to enable an early play, when there is an early play that needs no commitment other than devotion to the color red. In a you could probably get away with 6 red to play an early play, with 3 of it being 3
I'm
to 4.
just trying to make a case for this card.
Yeah,
right?
no, but that is a good point. It's meant to be used with those cards.
And I don't think those other cards were that bad either. Like when we did the first Data Live set review, I remember talking at length about that card. You wanted to go back and give that a listen.
I think
all the
those
little
cards
fringe
are that
cases
bad.
you could use it.
But I'm not a believer. But like, I don't know. Maybe there's extra like shift and alarm synergy in this set, because I don't know too much about Data Bullet like specifically. I just know what Brandon's come to locals with. Because I was like, I'm sick of looking at cards with Kurumi's face on it. I want to be done. I want to get out of here. So.
Admittedly, though, it is very rough that this has like the same exact early play condition as the Toka. Well, even if you were to run all that cute stuff, you could just like play the Toka instead.
I think the fact that it was practically colorless would be more attractive if there weren't more splashable level 0 red cards. There's Chiuri, there's Arisu, there's Clean Cut. Like, there's so many easy ways to fix for red. Like, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to fix for red that you don't even think about it. All right. We can loop back around. I think we've talked about it enough.
Yeah, we've covered this enough.
Back to Andy.
Ooh! Here's the clock tower. There it is. During the turn you play this from your hand to the stage. The start of your encore step, you can heal. You don't mess up your alarm conditions or anything. That's pretty dope. And when you attack, if Zafgil is in your climax zone for the turn, this gets 1,000 power. And at the end of this card's attack, you can pay to ditch a card, choose a card in your clock, and deal X damage to your opponent. Equal to the level of that card +1.
Modular burner at end of attack means you get 2 options to choose the perfect number. I have a lot more respect for these kinds of finishers after playing a lot of Mushoku, because the Roxy's like that. Pretty good at closing games when you like have knowledge of exactly what you need to stick with your upcoming attacks and stuff like that. Brandon, how awkward's the clock condition? Because my gut feeling is that the clock condition is
extremely awkward.
Yeah.
So I tried this card again for a couple weeks. I played a whole bunch of games just like testing with this, and So the card itself is good, but the requirement to get a good so like the level 2s it requires to go for this card. This deck doesn't have too many very good level 2s, so the burn for 3 is very awkward. The burn for 1 and the burn for 2 aren't very hard to hit because there's a crap ton of good level 0s and 1s, but the 2s to get a 2 in your clock is very hard. You have to literally hold a 2 in your hand and clock it the turn you want to play this card to make it work.
Just to have the option to burn 3, because like pay 2, ditch 1, burn 3 is like actually a really good rate, I think. So it's like, what is it? Mishoku, like Roxy's got to ditch 2 cards for that, like Roxy and the other card, the Aqua from Hololive. Those are ditch 2 burn 3s. So
not only that, but the ditch 2 or the pay 2 ditch 1 is actually it's kind of a steep cost because you obviously want to get as much as you can out of your finishing turn, so you're going to want to like pay 6 stock to try fill this, and then on top of that, you're going to need additional 6 stock if you want to do it 3 more. It's like 12 stock if you want to do all these.
Yeah, it's not refunding you at all along the way.
No, it doesn't refund you at
you
all.
got choice.
And again, you have to hold that. What?
That's why you got choice.
Well,
you got 8 choice.
Well, it's still even for that, it's still a lot of stock. And you have to hold that level 2 and clock your suit. That's assuming you aren't at 3-6 or something stupid. Because you're
it is asking a lot. I'm trying to build a case for it because
the clock condition seems like really. I can see where it'd be really awkward because it's nice to have a modular finisher like that, but this is only modular if you have the right cards in your clock, and if you're not running like those jank Kurumi cards that we mentioned on the last card, like
maybe you need that card to make this. Maybe you need like that a card as a one of to make this card as effective as it could be.
There are the 2s in this deck. The level 2s do directly assist this card. We'll get to this later, but the level 2s do assist this card. But the cards, again, they're kind of bad cards on their own that only work with this card.
I love all these like clock manipulation effects, though. I don't think this is gonna be like the finisher of choice. Like I think you either have to build around it so heavy, and like even if you go all in on the build, it's probably not better than just a good stuff Data Live build.
Well, actually,
like let's be honest, the original Kurumi's fucking insane.
So I'll put a little bit of spoiler in there. So 8 choice data bullet where you play Kotri level 1 into this is like a real deck, and there's another card that's the reason why you'd want to play it, and I'm definitely gonna try it because like current English pricing trend, I mean this will probably be pretty dirt since we know how cheap normal Data Live already is. So I don't think this will be much more expensive, especially because it's an extra booster and it's got really fucking pretty foils. Holy shit! You think these cards look pretty now? The foils in this set are absolutely insane. They're so pretty.
I can't wait to buy the base rarity version of this deck for nothing.
Yeah, so the base rate will end up being pretty cheap. I definitely want to try 8 choice Data Live just so that I can have like 8 standby sleeves because it doesn't like share too many cards, and have that together. But it is a real deck. There are a couple other payoff cards for trying to play this finisher, but that other early play, the one that we just kind of dunked on a little bit, it's not looking as bad when I think that you might have to tech in a couple of those clock manipulation cards just to take advantage of this finisher. Maybe that's
you don't even need that many of the clock manipulation cards.
Probably
man.
one or two.
I'm pretty sure it was like a rest self do the thing.
Yeah, it's just like rest self for the turn, do what you gotta do, and then it was like a global 5 or something. It like chilled in your back row. I can't remember. It had a like totally decent static effect. But yeah, I mean the finisher itself, I think I'm gonna use the forbidden word. I think there's some potential there, but it does sound like there's a pain. There is like a massive pain. There would have to be additional payoff to playing this lineup, which I'm confident there probably is, but I'll wait till we get to them.
Shane's card's so pretty, but as a Kurumi simp, I really want to run this card, but my gut just tells me no on it.
Yeah, if you're Kurumi simp, just run the original Kurumi. Probably. I get what Carmen's saying. I mean, that's basically echoes my thoughts on it. I think it's like, yeah, this is perfectly good. This is a great card, but you're comparing it against like
alternatives too. I think.
You're comparing this against the Kurumi.
I love cards that let you heal off your refresh point too. Like,
Oh yeah, I was about to mention that.
you could put 2 cards from your waiting room. Okay, think about this, right? You're at 3-0. You use that Kurumi, right? You put 2 cards from your waiting room into your clock, and then like you swing
And then
over
you
your
refresh, and your compression's even better.
and then you heal everything off. You're back at 3-0 again. Pretty
Honestly,
lit.
I guess it's like you went back and watched that last video where I said all that shit.
Uh-huh.
You might never be wrong, Carmen, but I'm always right.
Hell
That's
yeah.
what I'm getting from this.
Well, yeah, 'cause if you're at 3-2 and you swing over refresh point and you have 3 lanes of this, you do heal it all off.
Yeah, you'd heal it all off,
the
yeah.
refresh point.
That's
You
a
healed the refresh point.
classic mocha cheese, dude. Classic Bang Dream cheese. Healing off your refresh. Alright, I think we're good. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Finisher's pretty cool, though. It's a very handsome card. Very nice art. Brandon, go ahead.
All right. Level 0. When this attacks, choose one of your other characters and it gets 1500 power. This is an alarm that makes your entire hand 2k backups, basically. Now, I've experimented with this card. It's I also just paraphrase it all, but so this thing triggers at the beginning of the climax phase. So if this is in the climax phase, it triggers making your entire hand basically 2k backups. If you take damage in the middle of their attack phase, you still get your hand is still 2k backups despite this not being the alarm.
Yes.
But what's also nice is you can pay a backup on top of this. So the way it's worded, when it's frontal attack, you can discard a card from your hand, make a 2k backup, and then if you have a real 2k backup, you can use that as well. So it's like double
You
the
could go to
backups.
like 4K, yeah.
The only issue I do have this card, because I tried playing this in the standby build, 8 standby. It's actually really awkward because I feel like with standby, a lot of times you get to a point where you just don't need a clock anymore, and
Yeah,
you're just
it's like
don't want you actually don't
There's
care,
this-
or you're like at 1-6 and you want to have a 2k backup, and you're like, oh wow, I'm going to lose it.
yeah, you think about like the upside of playing this as your 2K counter, where it's like, holy shit, all my junk 2-2s and 1-1s in hand become 2K counters. That sounds incredible. And then you're like, wait, I got to play 4 of this card. And then you're like, wait, I got to clock this card. And like, oh no, now I got to sculpt this card. I can't like use my Arisus to just like push for triggers and rip through my deck. I think it's a really like attractive idea. But I'll believe in Brandon's testing. I do remember the games where he was playing this card. It did seem pretty fucking awkward. The highs were cool though. I do remember you double backing up to like get over somebody while I was watching, and I was like, "That's broken." You just backed up for like 4,500 or something.
I did the free fresh counter, and then I used that, and it was funny because they're like, "Oh, you can't get higher than 3k," and I'm like,
Yeah, no, you can get to 45 pretty easy. It is really cool. The fact that it's also a buff too, like it's also a buff card. Maybe this is better in like a deck that uses the Toka level 1, where you're like costlessly walling up. Maybe this card is a little better in that deck, because even if this card's on the field, this card can help the Toka get reverses, and then extra copies you have in your hand, you like clock 1. You play
Are you
like
talking about the standby version with like the Toka?
no, the blue Toka, the book Toka.
Oh,
Like,
you're talking about that
yeah,
one.
since in English we don't have the choice list, so you can run the back row still. So like maybe it has potential in that deck, but wow, I've used the no word twice.
You used the P word twice.
Nah, but I think the card's cool. I'll give it a C+ just for like, card might go somewhere. I think it's super neat, but
I think I'm like in a slightly different boat than you guys. I think this doesn't seem like a 4 of to me. This seems like a really good like 1 or 2 of. Because it's just really versatile in the fact that you either lets you like get backups from your hand or can like power up on field, but I don't think you really want to be running 4 copies of a.
I was just talking about it being in standby. Like in an other deck, I'd agree it'd be like a 1 or 2 of.
Because I don't think you need that many copies of like on attack, give power.
I didn't even try to run this in anything except standby because this is where it seemed like if at any home it was in standby.
It does have really interesting implications when combined with the free fresh counter as well too. Because this is a discard any card from your hand, so you could like discard a climax and then free fresh.
Yeah,
That seems pretty
it'd be
cheeky,
pretty nasty. Yeah.
especially in like the bar builds. Because Data Bullet also has green cards. You can like discard a bar then free fresh.
If you're playing bar build, you don't care if your lanes live or not because you have infinite value anyways. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, but you're getting the bar out of your hand. You're free freshing.
No, I'm just saying, like, why would you get rid of it just to save save character? It's like you got so
Well,
much better stuff
it's
with
not
your
about the
bars,
power
so-
on field at that point. I don't think. I think it's at
It'd
that
be about
point it's
the
like
compression,
shit. My
yeah.
deck's like out of climaxes. Let me just
Oh,
like
that's
get
why
this
you-
bar out of my
you won't-
hand and free fresh.
You have all kinds of bar supports and other stuff though.
Yeah, the green stuff is kind of self-contained, but I see where Andy's coming from. And
Like
use
you
it
don't
to
always
ditch a
free fresh
climax,
counter for the power. Sometimes you do it just to free fresh, just to pay out
Hmm.
climaxes.
All right. Moving on. I got this other Kurumi. When a climax with choice trigger icon is placed in your climax zone, all of your characters get 500 power. Interesting. Climax combo Brainstorm. Pay 1, rest this. Flip over the top 4 cards of your deck. Put them in the waiting room. For each Zaf kill or black and white facing off, revealed this way, choose up to 1 character in waiting room, return it to your hand, choose one of your characters for the turn. That character gets plus 1,000 power. So this is the Climax combo exclusive Brainstorm that is supposed to reward you for playing specific Climax lineups. I think the only one of these that ever saw play was the Love Live Sunshine one that hit on standbys. Because that deck was dumb. Probably still is dumb. I don't know. But if you're playing these specific climaxes and like you only have Data Bullet and you have a mono Data Bullet deck, this Brainstorm's actually pretty good. It's just a salvage Brainstorm that also gives buffs for every climax you hit, just like a free upside. So if you're playing these combos, you play this Brainstorm probably instead of the
My
search
issue
one.
with this card, my big issue with this card is you can't use it on the other choice for the level 1 for the coterie. It has to be the set exclusive.
Yeah, it's just for this set only. Not
Which
That's why
choice
you're getting the
only.
1,000 power on. You're getting the 1,000 power on each hit though too. That's why it's overstated like that.
Yeah,
It is, but I feel like that's almost irrelevant.
it is. Again, like I can't stress this enough. These rarely see play. The stars got to align, but first effect is fine. Like
I'm seeing the stars here. Fuck, I didn't even know this card existed. When I mentioned on that last card, I'm like, okay, let's build this weird. I'm gonna build this deck dirt cheap and play the Kurumi deck. I was already thinking the level 1 and the level 3 from this set, and now my deck's getting even better.
well, there are other payoffs for just choice. This is just the set contained Brainstorm, but I mean, like you're playing just the set. You play this Brainstorm probably, so C plus. It's
yeah.
I mean, and not that Data Live needed any more modularity to begin with, but
gives you options.
I do see, like, Brandon's like, right, it would be nice if this could hit on other climaxes.
Just
yeah.
Specifically, I really, I really like the level 1 combo.
What'd you say?
We both tried to talk at the same time.
I just say if it just said instead of Zafkiel and the other climax, if it just said hits on choice climax in general, I would bump this up to a B just because.
Well, that's why, dude. If it hit on just choice climaxes, that deck would already be better than it is. I think there's a reason it doesn't just hit on choice. There's a reason the first effect is choice, and the climax combo is specific climaxes. If it was just choice, I think Coterie. I will. All the way back in that set review, I'm pretty sure I said Coterie was a mistake, and I will hold by that. I think that Climax combo is a mistake. I don't think that card should exist. So I don't think they want to support it.
That was a fun set review.
That was a really grueling set review. Yeah, that was a just never-ending like slog of this card's good, this card's good. All right, next card. Back to Andy.
Alright, cool. Kurumi, supposedly in a clock. All your other characters with date and or elemental get 500 extra power. When you play this, you can pay 1 top card, elaborate a clock, search your deck for a Zafkiel Kurumi. Put it in your. Is that the finisher? Or, I thought Zafkiel was the brainstorm.
Finisher.
No, it's like the name.
No.
It's in quotes. See,
Oh wait, is Zafkiel the climax?
Zafkiel's the climax. Yes.
Oh, and the card's named Zafkiel
Yes.
Kurumi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you pay 1 clock yourself, Ricky, for specifically the finisher. Okay, and resonance. Choose a card in your clock and return it to hand. Choose a card in your hand and put it in clock. So just as a startup, you can rest this card, reveal the finisher from your hand, and switch a card in your hand and clock.
Yeah,
If
it's
you're
a
going
way,
for the
it's a
level
way
3
to juggle
Kurumi
your
finisher,
clock. Yeah.
lets you
Good thing for
set
the
things up
set,
like
but card's very bad in my
you know what
opinion.
else you could do, Brandon?
I don't think it's too bad
But-
actually.
Put the early play Kurumi in your clock. Play it from clock.
I would rather play this card than play the old Kurumi we were talking about that like moves a card in and out of clock. I would rather have this card because it's like multi-purpose. This card has 3 like relevant lines of text, or like it has 2 relevant lines of text and 1 line of text that might be relevant. That's also a raw plus. Like,
Honestly, I think the middle line is like the most sussy.
it is, that's what I said. The middle line is the most sussy. I said like
I thought you were referring to
it has
Resonance,
it has 2 relevant effects and then 1 effect that's maybe relevant, but at the very least is a raw plus. So like, it could be worse. I would rather play this than the old Kurumi if I was trying to get some clock manipulation into my 8-choice data bullet deck. I would probably play this as like a 1 or 2 of maybe.
I wouldn't run this card as more than 1 of, and that is only if I'm running like super heavy clock manipulation with this deck. The only one thing I really do like about this card that I didn't realize till just now actually is the final ability. You can, if you are one of the unlucky souls that refresh hits a climax every time, like I do, you can put that climax in your hand.
Yeah, you can grab any cards. You can grab events too. Like if you're playing
Mhm.
you're playing the My Little Shido, you can grab that as well.
Here's a thought. Do you think you could actually just play this instead of the Ricky
No.
from earlier in
No,
the
no,
set?
no,
Hear
no,
me
no,
out
no.
on this. Hear me out on this.
No, the answer is no.
Hear me out.
No.
Okay,
it's
okay,
no.
let him say it.
Okay.
Let him say it.
All right.
Like the level 0 quality in Data Live is almost already like unparalleled. There's no abundance of good level 0s to choose from. It's not like you have to crutch on a Ricky like some sets have to. You have a clean cut, you have a Risu, you have so many dope ass level 0s you could be running. Maybe you just like save your Ricky to level 1.
No.
And then you get a global 500 out of it. I mean, yeah, you can only search for the finisher, but if you have
No.
other ways to filter that around, maybe?
No, I would not do that. The reason you play a Ricky is to sculpt for your level 1. Make that more consistently. Or sculpt for like a specific level 0 that answers the board, like a clean cut or something. So, but I do think this card,
Yeah.
if you're playing the Kurumi, I would probably play 1 or 2 copies of this before I played any of the other clock manipulation cards. Because this card, like, again, it's 3 lines of relevant text as opposed to, whatever. All right, next. I believe this is
me, I
Brandon.
guess, right?
Yep.
All right. On your turn, if you have a card in memory, it gets 2,500 power, making it 65. And the ability when it attacks, if the character is level across from this is level 2. So level 2 specifically, this card will get 6,000. This card's the most math thing ever, in my opinion.
It's
Level 2 killer,
level
bro.
2 killer, yeah. You know if you need
Yeah,
it.
specifically.
You
like
know
a
if you
one-of
need
card,
this
maybe.
card, and you can only play this card in builds that specifically have this like data bullet only memory mechanic going on. So kind of whatever. So it's worse than a normal one. I'd normally give these like a straight C because they're tech cards that you only play when you need them for specific metas. But because this is stapled to a memory package that likely probably won't see play, I'm gonna give it a C minus. But like maybe it does. But I don't think these
Is
cards are
there
particularly bad.
is there not anything in the original Dal set that goes to memory?
If there is, it's nothing that I can remember.
Actually, I don't think there is. I can't. There actually might, ironically, be no card. Yeah, there actually original Dal. I'm pretty sure has no remotely relevant card that goes to memory.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've read every single Dal card at least once, and I cannot think of a single one off the top of my head. Which means either it doesn't exist or it's so bad it's not worth running. And the
Yeah,
original Dal.
unless the memory card in this set. I'm not going to be that much of a doomer, but there would have to be a pretty good memory package to make me want to run this.
All right, moving on. Kurumi 1-0. I'm gonna read the second effect first here. So rest, put this into the waiting or act, put this in the waiting room. Choose one of your data elemental characters for the turn. It gets 25 or 2,000 power. So you can sack it to give a character 2K. Other effect, more important, when this goes from stage to waiting room. So when it dies, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Choose a yellow Climax from among them. Put it into your hand. If you do, discard a card. Discard the rest. It's a Kome for yellow Climaxes that can sack itself. On-death Kome that sacks itself for an ability. This is one of the main reasons why 8-choice Kotri new Kurumi finisher was seeing play. Around when the set came out was because this is like a really good Climax assurance engine for the deck. Especially when you're playing Kotri and all you want to do is slam down Kotri every single turn until you play your finisher. Because that's how decks like that work. You just like play like an absolute idiot, slam a bunch of cards to the field because your cards always come back to your hand because Kotri's dumb. This card just helps you continue doing that. So it's even better if like because a lot of the time like you only want to field 2 Kotri, right? Because playing 3 is like really dumb sometimes. You like go overhand. So like playing this as your other lane and then like when it actually dies doing it, or like if you have to dig for a Climax, it self sacks itself and pushes Kotri over stuff. So, a lot going for that specific deck.
You can maybe play this in a like choice standby, like a Kotari Kurumi, like the original deck.
And be a
Like
little
you have a
dicey.
Rest 2 Brainstorm. Well, you have a Rest 2 Brainstorm in that deck, right? So you tap this down for the
What?
Rest 2 Brainstorm.
Wait, you mean the blue one?
Yeah.
You wouldn't play that in anything other than standby.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's what I'm
With
saying.
me.
Choice standby.
Oh, I think choice
And then,
standby.
like, you sacrifice this
so.
Play a
off, give
normal
2,000
Brainstorm.
power. And
I
then
wouldn't play a
open
Kome.
spot.
I wouldn't play a Kome that couldn't grab both of my Climaxes. Just
Yeah,
like
neither.
in general. I don't think that's ever worth it.
I mean,
but
it's very good for the 8-choice build. The set, unfortunately, it really tries to convince you to run either 8-choice or 8-bar, just the way this whole set is structured. But there are little cute tricks you can do where you don't actually have to do that. But especially for the 8-choice list, you're really pushed to do 8-choice. But you can deviate with the bar build. We'll get to that one later.
yeah, I think
Notably, this is yellow
yeah.
Climax, too, so you could... doesn't have to be choice. I think there's isn't one of the Kurumi combos a wind in the first set?
No,
No.
Or
I don't
they
think
it's
all
also
choice?
a choice.
I don't think Data Life. Does Data Life even have a win trigger? I'm actually
Oh
not
no,
even
they're
They
phasing
don't.
Wind Trigger out of the game because it's garbage. Like slowly, they're slowly removing Wind Trigger from the game. We'll probably get a different yellow trigger, and Wind Trigger will go away completely. I don't think they like Wind Trigger, like both in design and like just in general. I don't think it will be around for much longer. That's my hot take.
I don't think wind is bad. I don't think wind is that bad. I
Doesn't-
think they phase shot out for choice.
Well, I think
I think
both.
Wind
I
has
think
very
both Wind
specific,
and Shot are on their last legs, and we will basically never see them again. We're gonna get a new yellow trigger, and Shot and Wind will be officially retired. That's my spicy take.
Yeah, we'll have
My
four
take is-
four yellow triggers and just gold bar for green.
Yep. Well, Gold Bar's broken, so
And I think I think the Wind Trigger has its home in certain decks. I think Shot's just overall not very good, but
Yeah.
Yeah, shot, unfortunately, very bad. But anyway, back to this
Oh,
card.
we're not here to talk about
This
triggers.
card
So.
slaps. I'd give it more, but because I think Komeis are broken, even when they're on death. But it's only in a very specific build. But this would make me want to play a choice, and it's the card that's actually getting this is the reason why I think I'm going to sleeve up, like pick up a choice in English, is to play this card. I think Komeis are broken.
I think that card makes the deck. If this card didn't exist, I would never. Honestly, if this card didn't exist, I don't think I would have even tested the 8 choice build. Actually,
Yeah, it's like the big payoff card for choice. All right, back to the top. Back to Andy.
Alrighty, we got this 2/1 Kurumi. All of your level 3 or higher characters in front get plus 2k power. You can rest this. Choose a character in your waiting room. Put it at the top or bottom of your clock. If a card is placed in this way at the end of the turn, put the bottom card of your clock into the waiting room. Yet another way to get that early play into your clock on top.
Or just support your finisher. I don't believe your finisher gains any additional power, and it does have to. It gains 1k, so it's 12k on its own. If your opponent has like memory kick back row or something weird that you're trying to scale over, you probably need to include a copy of this card in that deck anyway to make sure that your card's ability will go off. Since Kurumi is end of attack, you have to at least still be on the board. You don't have to win the lane, but you can't get like shot to memory or something. So the fact that your like level 3 or higher assists that you probably have as a tech 1 of anyway also has a clock manipulation tool on it is it's right in that same vein.
So whenever I was talking about the finisher for this choice, this is the level 2 I was talking about. That was like, it's not very good, but it's required if you want to have that pop finisher.
Yeah, it helps you set up like your level 2 or whatever.
It's like required for that alone. It is like the level 2 you hoard for either clocking it itself or using it to find that card to put in your clock.
That you have the burn 3 online.
Yeah, that's the only reason you really run this card. You could also run it just for the. I have tried running it in a couple lists. Like if you're running, I know this deck's not that great, but the Yoshino wall, I used it to try to boost up the Yoshino wall because it gets 2k power as opposed to the 500 assist. It's a little bit more power.
Oh
but
yeah,
the
Dal is kind of scuffed
probably,
for like level 2 assists. I am remembering that now. It's coming back to me.
It doesn't have any, but unfortunately, I still my consensus after trying it in those builds alone, it just wasn't worth it. The color requirement was a little bit awkward, and it was just overall not that great of a card otherwise. This is only as a home in this specific finisher, pretty much.
Yeah. Or if you want to play that early play.
Yeah, I think for that specific deck, card probably does a lot of work. All right. Brandon, go ahead.
Oh boy, we got stock swap. Gets big 500 for each other, and it's stock swap. Just as simple as that.
Level 3 stock swap. Because you're.
Sounds good. Sorry. I was going to say, it's also really nice because now you don't have to be running the Kurumi standby finisher to stock swap your opponent. You can do it any build. Because that's what Dal needed.
Yeah. So it's just a stock swap you don't need to have standby Kurumi in your deck to have access to.
I'll even say A-.
Important card to have in your deck so that your opponent can't disrespect you. We've talked this to death. Like, level 3 stock swaps are kind of bad because they come online at the worst time where you have the least chances to really get your opponent with them, but you got to throw that one of in your deck so when your opponent says, do I see stock swap going back, you can say yes, which is really what they're in your deck for.
Like you begrudgingly play it.
Mm-hmm.
So like any build of Dal that is like not running 8 standby literally just runs one of this card every time.
Pretty much. Yeah, you're not going to feel good about it.
Yeah, I've always just been like just slapping these with Bs. Andy's probably right. We could probably give level 3 stock swaps worse scores these days.
You think? I guess your opponent doesn't have a lot of stock to work with at level 3. I can kind of see what you're saying here.
Yeah, it's like Weiss has changed so much. It's like, oh, I need to have this card just to tell my opponent that they can't stare me in the face with 20 stock and I'll never do damage again. Like, it's like the game is already there and it's been there for a
I
bit.
don't think this is like a requirement necessarily anymore. It's more of like a tech card. Like you're using your tech spot to threaten the stock swap, as opposed to like something else.
Yeah, I've only actually played this card probably 2 times since Dad came out, honestly.
Yeah, that's how they go.
Again, it's just there.
I mean, like, I was playing all those games with Hololive, and I had the, like, what is it, that Matsuri stock swap in the deck, and, like, over, like, 40 games, I think I played that card 1 time. Like, but every single time people ask, like, oh, Matsuri stock swap, there it goes. Like, or they started paying out stock. It's like, that's just how the game is now. But topic for another time. I think that would be a nice video actually about like, cuz like Tyler made a great video about like when you should use stock swap, but like I think like the implications of stock swap over the course of a game would be like a good topic.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much just do they have more stock than deck, and that's pretty
basically
much about it, right?
Yeah, like that's that is the like key situation. But yeah, that'd be a different video. We can move on. Kurumi. Oh God. Okay. Kurumi about to shoot herself. I have no other way to.
Kurumi commits suicide, but if you know the lore, she's not.
Yeah, she's not. She casts spells by, Data Live's really edgy and for edgy teenagers.
Kurumi came to school in those pumped up kicks.
Oh Jesus Christ. This is played your hand on stage. You may return 2 characters and to your deck, shuffle your deck, and then this card gets out without soul penalty, and on attack, choose any of your characters, including itself. 1500 power. This is a reprint of the box topper from the first set.
What?
So,
you mean it doesn't return 2 cards? It has to be characters? That's
wow. Yeah, this
shit.
card's fucking nerfed. It's not broken like the other one. Come on, Bushiroad. But yeah, we already talked about that card like a decent amount. It's like it's a tech. So if you are playing Standby Data Live and you are in a Standby Hell, this is a card that like plays very well into other Standby decks because it sides for free, then pumps another lane, and that was the reason it saw play in the first place, and that's why it was in all those Japanese lists because everybody else was playing a Standby Dao, and that's what it's used for. But yeah, niche but playable card, yeah. Moving on. Back to Andy.
Yeah. Does she have a sword?
No, it's a gun.
No,
It's a
I
musket.
thought that was like a
It's a
sword
gun,
in a
it's just-
sheath. It's a
A
wooden
little bit, yeah.
musket.
He's
Anyway.
layering underneath the sword, or underneath the gun. I would be saying sword.
When you play this, you pay 1, ditch a climax, salvage a climax. You don't even need to run the
Climax swap.
Kome. You
Or
don't need to run
Gami.
the Kome. You just play this.
Or
Or both.
So if you hit the wrong climax, you fix it.
I like that this card is just 2,500 power. It like,
Save 'em.
What's the other one? You reveal your hand next 5.
The origamy's either 1,000 or 1,500 power, and it's also climax swap, but you can reveal your hand and do -500 to center stage, which is sometimes relevant, but
Yeah, that other
sometimes
origamy's better.
it's weird because if you're bleeding on climax, I mean, you don't want to reveal your hand to them. There are situations for that, but you don't have to, obviously. But generally speaking, origamy's better, but there are certain builds that I have taken out the origami and put this in instead.
Fix yellow.
If you're running it,
yeah.
well, if you're running 8 standby and you're running a climax swap, I believe you should be running this instead of origami, because the yellow fix and the 8 standby build is a little awkward sometimes, and this can just help with that.
Just for the yellow fix.
Also
It's literally
just
just yellow
2,500. It's like vanilla stat line, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I'd say just it's just build dependent. If you have a yellow fix, or if you need a yellow fix, run this. If you don't need the yellow fix, run origami.
Card's pretty good, I
Yeah.
think. It's just basic.
Yeah, I like Climax swappers.
Every set should have them. I'm a big proponent of that. Where are we at now? Brandon?
Me.
Brandon, go ahead.
Yep. All right. Well, we got a 1/1 Kurumi. When she becomes reversed, if the level is higher than the level, you may put the character in stock. If not, put the bottom card of the opponent's stock in the waiting room. So just early play hate.
Remember when we saw this at level 1 for the first time and we're like, oh my god, it's at level 1 instead of level 2. That's so good.
Not every set gets them all the time.
I was gonna say, what's the big deal?
Yeah, if you need the Adachi, you got the Adachi.
It's like the most math thing ever.
Dude, wait until they print a 0/1 with this effect.
If you're in if you're in some build where you can't play the Yoshino Adachi, like you're not in standby, this is like a better option. Because builds that aren't in standby are usually in yellow. So, works out, I guess.
Call me when they make this a 0/1.
Jesus.
It's gonna happen, dude.
Yeah, it's
0/1s are gonna come back, dude.
Natural progression of the game, right?
Yeah.
It didn't matter that much if they did.
No.
Nah, probably not. I mean, you could
Yeah.
answer their like level 1 standby target. It'd be a little relevant.
Yeah.
Who even really cares that much?
I could
Standby
set
players
standby
care.
decks pretty behind, yeah. So we got this white queen. When this is played, you can bounce one of your opponent's characters. Then when this becomes
It's not white
reversed,
queen.
is it not?
Wait. Oh, the
White
card
queen?
it goes, it bonds to. Oh, they said the
Yes,
card's a white
queen.
queen. The card it bonds
Yes.
is the white queen.
Okay, whatever.
You said you got this white queen, but she's not the
Hibiki,
white queen.
she's not the white queen. Whatever. They all look the fucking same. Hibiki, right?
All
Hibiki?
women are queens.
Yeah, this is Hibiki.
Okay. All right. So this Hibiki, she's on play bounce. And then when this becomes reversed, you pay 1 and send this to memory, and you choose the white queen finisher in your waiting room, and you put it rest in that slot. And now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna go double check this. I believe the white queen does heal. Yes, it does. Okay, so the white queen does heal when summoned in this way. So it is a bouncer that can summon your finisher to the field from your waiting room. You don't even have to have it in hand when it dies for 1 stock.
And this card goes to memory, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, when this card goes to memory, yeah. So when this card
Yeah,
becomes
so you
reversed.
pay 1 and send him. And so you get to attack with it as well, so you pay the stock that you get with it.
So like if your opponent's not ready to die, you can like put this down, bounce a lane, swing, and then when your opponent kills it, you like, it's like you're playing a copy of your finisher without playing it early.
Does the
Heals on your opponent's turn.
Does the green finisher, when does it activate? Is it like encore
It's
style?
no, it's an on attack finisher. This is
I think you're talking about the heal. The heal is on play though.
Yeah, the heal's on play. On play or on summon from this card.
I don't know. It's just like so awkward. Like it.
So I give my 2 cents here because Carmen actually ended up getting me to try it. At first, I thought the card was the most average thing ever. Then Carmen told me to try it. I've quite literally played this card 2 to 3 times as often as I did the stock swap. This card's actually like fairly relevant. It comes up a lot more than you would actually think it would. Like the balance, actually, because like everyone and their mother loves to play standby, and you're like, wow, I could just say no to this. And
Card's efficient. Yeah, like the card's efficient. It's functional extra copies of your finisher. That again, I think the big thing here is that it summons the card from waiting room. Doesn't have to be in your hand. So it's truly extra functional copies.
I don't think you could say this is an extra functional copy though. If you're trying to like go for game this turn, I'm trying to like try field my finisher. Let me find my finisher.
Well, it's not for those situations.
This does not actually convert into your finisher on your kill turn.
You're right. But I could just kind of spoil how this deck works a little bit, Andy. Because I mean,
what happens when this doesn't get reversed in battle? You win your lane with this, and then they just crash into it.
Great, then even better. Then you get to.
Then you don't get your finisher.
You just grab it back or something. Well, I think here's the big reason for this card. Like, I mean, you know, this deck came out, I played 8 bar for 2 to 3 months straight, like nonstop, because I love the 8 bar. My favorite deck is the 8 bar deck for Dallas. My favorite deck in all of Weiss Schwarz, like actually. um, the with his build, like so, like you have all these your 8 bars, so you have all these clean triggers, assuming you don't blind stock a climax. So you have this massive amount of clean stock. Your chances of living back between turns are a lot higher in this deck than maybe some other decks. So because of that, the heal on your opponent's turn is a little more relevant.
Yeah, the heal on your opponent's turn is like the big thing. Like a bouncer, you remove your opponent's threat, and then when they like swing back over you, you get a heal and a copy of your finisher out of it. Like a pretty good exchange.
Like this deck is like an aggro. It's like an aggro deck that also has a lot of sustainability that you don't care a lot of times if you kill your opponent that much, like all the time. Like if your opponent lives on like you need like on level 3, a lot of times you don't even care half the time because you're still super compressed.
Yeah, I don't
Like it's
know.
I
super
guess the pay one
consistent.
send a memory that is like a straight plus, and you do get a heal off it. But I don't know.
It's a card you have to play with. Brandon doubted me on this one too.
And that happens to happen a lot. I doubt Carmen, and he ends up being right.
You gotta put it in and give it a try. Because I do think it does read a little underwhelming if you don't like But what did I play that was similar to this? I had some sort of frame of reference for this when I recommended it from Brandon. I can't remember it now. This was so long ago when Data Bullet came out in JP. It's been a long time.
You just said
I
healing
can't
on your
remember.
opponent's turn seems really good. That's all you said. Healing on your opponent turns is really fun. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it.
Oh yeah, because I was just like brewing Data Bullet, like just on Encore decks and sending you decks. And I was like, this card seems pretty dope. You heal on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
we were
yeah.
just like we were just throwing Dow cards back around at each other and going over cards for 8 bar, and you're like you should try this, and I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I've seen you use it. I think the card's probably an overperformer. Um, but yeah, we can move on. I think we've said our piece. That good, Andy? Nothing else?
I like how she has an actual sword instead of a gun this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
inferior.
that's true. Yeah.
Hibiki's just like the Chica of Data Bullet.
Okay.
She kind of looks like her, yeah.
Where is this? This is back to Andy.
I don't know who the hell this is. Uh, looks like one looks like Nozomi from Love Live. She's got that weird hair shit going on. Anyway, Sawa. Sawa memories never fade in your memory. She gets 2,000 power, and the effect when you attack with this, you can twin drive. Pay 1, do 2 triggers. You can pay 1, send this standing card to memory. Get a Zafikil Kurumi in your waiting room. Return it to your hand. What does that other level 0, the one that has to be in your memory, do?
A1, send it to memory. Check top 3 from standing only.
I don't like it, unless there's like some really big payoff to having memory, other than that, like that one
This
right
one,
card from earlier.
this one is the worst one of the cards that go to memory. I think. I guess it's pretty good if you clean cut it.
Pay 1,
Yeah.
send this standing card to memory. Look at top 3. That's not good.
Well, those effects are
It's like
fine
polite,
when they
I
can be
guess.
clean cut, but like it bonds to your finisher and like card has to live. I don't know. I don't like it. The fact that it becomes like a 3,500 twin driver, like on your
Who gives a shit? It's not gonna be 3,500 at level 0 when you want it to be.
you'd have to be in quite the like everything goes right situation for that to be online at level 0.
I don't think you care about the first line. I think it's just the second line that matters.
Actually, does Data Live have another twin driver? Maybe you run this in like 8 standby just to get twin drive.
Nah, you got Arisu to push for triggers.
No, you've so many good
Yeah.
cards in 8 standby. Why would you run this trash?
You have so many ways to push for standby outside of that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. Maybe I'm missing something here. There's a whole package. I don't know. It goes to memory. I'll give it a D plus. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do with these cards. Brandon, is there like something we're missing here? Is this? Am I right? Is this the worst
No,
half? I know the other one's like
no, this is
playable, like at
no.
least.
This might be one of the bottom worst 5 cards of this entire set. This card, I saw this card, and when I made my 8 choice build with Kurumi, like this Kurumi, I think I threw one in, and then I took it out. Like I actually don't think I even ran it in the Kurumi list. I'm not joking.
Okay.
And I don't think I even ran it in the 8 choice build. I'm pretty sure I didn't
Yeah,
even
because
I ended up
I
cutting it
can't
entirely.
remember. I know there's like one or two cards that work with this, but all right,
Not worth it.
moving on. Brandon, go ahead.
You may play Climax cards without meeting the color requirement. All your characters get 500 power. This card's kinda ass.
For Data Live, like Climax cards without meeting color requirement. That was really cool in Bofree when all of your standby targets were the wrong color.
It's also really
Can-
cool in Beaufrey when it was stapled to a Brainstormer.
Yeah, this is
The
just a
card you
global
wanted.
5. I mean, it could have been this could be worse for like a static effect, right? Like, but what does
You'd have to
Data
be playing
Live
some
do
really
with this?
weird greedy deck. Like I'm all about this sort of like card that lets you run super greedy on colors, but it seems like if you're playing the standby deck already, it's not like you're really stretched on colors. Like the majority of the good cards in the set seem like they're already like red and yellow.
But you
I
also
guess
don't have
maybe it lets you like more easily be able to like play the 1/0 Toka back row assist, the one that's on the restriction list.
Well, no, it's
Like you
just
can play that at level
climaxes.
1 and then still like play your standby like a little
Oh,
bit
okay,
easier.
okay, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because standby is the only thing in Data Live that you would be able to use with this because there's no like cards that are one color that combo with a climax of another color. Like you'd have to play your cards and then do that. So like
Like you wouldn't have you could like level red
level
or you could
blue.
level blue and then like more freely. But
Yeah.
even then that's like how many of this do you want to run? This is like a one of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see like a place for it in Data Live.
I
In,
think this card's really bad.
in certain sets, I'm sure they'd love to have this. This is it is not currently a card that Data Live needs. I don't think 8 standby is cracked enough as is.
Keep in mind, why would you run this when you have your Ricky to give you whatever color you want?
Yeah, you do
You have
have
the
built-in
broken
color
Ricky that we have.
fixers. Yeah.
That is true also, yeah.
All right, moving on. 1/0 Kurumi. It is a shift starting at level 0. The 1500 backup.
Remind me how Shift 0 works again.
You can exchange this from your clock starting at level 0, I believe is how shift works. So, like, starting at your level 0 clock, you could shift this into your hand for another yellow card. I do not think that is ever worth giving up 500 power on your backup. I would not play this card. I think it's that simple. I don't think there's a reason to give up 500 power for something like shift.
I mean, I guess it's easier to get into your hand than a normal backup.
I don't think it matters. Like, I don't.
It's not
think
like
it
you want to be
matters.
playing your backup down anyway. You know what I mean? It's like you're perfectly fine just holding it. Not gonna give it the F, but it's like not good.
Yeah. All right, back to Andy.
Oh boy, maybe we can do something with these cards in memory. If your opponent has a cat character, this card cannot attack. Carmen,
What?
are there any relevant cat characters?
You automatically lose to what is it, Nichijou?
Oh. Kurumi Memories That Never Fade is in your memory. This gets 3,000 power. If Sawa Memories That Never Fade is in your memory, this gets the Twin Drive. Oh, so is that like what both of them do? You just get both of their effects or something?
Yeah.
I guess that's
Oh,
the idea.
oh shit! Oh my god, she's a fusion summon. I just got it. It's like polymerization.
Oh my
Except
She's
both
breaking
of
these
these,
cards.
except both of these cards have to be separately sent to memory, and then you separately play this card later. Not
Oh no, I just
being
think I
not at
figured
all
out the plot
fusion.
of the show. I think I just spoiled the show for everyone. I think they're like
Probably.
a fusion summon
It's really funny, like
or something. That's why she has 2 different colored eyes.
that flavor effect is really funny
Ooh.
until it's not. Like it's a useless flavor effect until there's randomly a card with cat on the board, and your opponent just can't play the game because this card's in your deck.
Is there a way to like actually bestow traits?
I
guess you wouldn't know. You wouldn't want to do that. Never
I'm
mind.
sure there's some set somewhere where like you can choose a trait, give a character a trait, maybe somewhere. I don't know. Not anything in English, that's for sure, but it is funny. That sounds like a no game, no life card. Like, pick a trait, give a trait to one of your characters. It's like, haha, I'm a cat. Your card can't attack. And then they go, aw, shucks. I knew I shouldn't have shown up with the weirdo Data Live where I play this card deck today. They just
Counterpicked.
I can't believe my opponent pulled out their cat deck to just really get me. But
they counter pick.
this is really, really funny, though. Like, I don't know. I don't think
does this make the other two maybe like a little bit more playable?
It's
I
a
think it makes
6/5
the other ones a
twin
bit more
driver.
playable. Like lets you double down on the twin drivers.
Slightly.
Oh, if you're a good 6500 twin driver, but
Okay, come on. Maybe you play
know.
this in 8 standby now.
No.
You
you'd
have like
play-
up to 8
No.
twin
Andy,
drivers.
no, that'd be so many extra cards. Are you serious? But
Huh?
one of the tightest decks of all time. Let's play 12 additional cards, dude.
You only need 1 in memory. It's only like
Okay,
it's only a 9 card.
we're just
package.
memeing. Come on, we're almost done with yellow. Let's get through this. All right. The cat shit is funny though. Who's this? Brandon, right? Yeah.
yeah, we're just going through the crap cards now. This character, his ability activates twice per turn. When your character card is placed from hand to the clock, this card gets 3,000 power and this hand encore.
From hand to
Yeah.
clock?
So there's that one card that lets you exchange a card from hand to clock, and then you clock for turn if this card's already down. If you encore it, the idea is you encore it, you clock for turn, you swap a card with that level 2, I believe, right? Or no, it's the level 1. The level 1 lets you resonate and exchange. You could get to 10-5 with this as a 1-0, which is pretty spicy.
Is there some Milky Holmes shit in this set? This can kick on your opponent's turn too. Is there
It
a way to
could
like get
kick
a
on
card
your
in your
opponent's
clock
turn.
on your opponent's turn?
I don't believe so. When your character card is placed from hand in clock. Milky sends a card to level. I don't think there's anything that
Well, no,
manipulates-
I mean like you. I guess I meant Milky in the sense that you put a card in a zone, you get
Yeah,
power,
yeah,
and then it's like a
I know
backup.
what
Is
you
there like
mean.
a backup that like puts a card?
I
from
don't
your
think
hand?
so. If there is,
No.
it's this next
Well.
card. It's not. But yeah, nope. Only on your turn. Unfortunate. That would be really spicy. It would also probably be a lot less power if that strategy was out there. I don't think they make it at 7.5. Even Ellie's like 7K. So, all right, moving on. It's back to me, right?
Oh no, there's another cat.
Or
Can
just
this
me?
one attack?
I think it's me. Whatever.
Yeah,
Surprise, Kurumi?
Yeah, it's you.
It's a memory kick counter. Dow didn't have a memory kick counter. So if you need a memory kick counter, Dow has one. Depending
It's
on
like
your meta.
legitimately important against
Yeah.
decks that in the mirror match where their Kurumi activates after attack.
8-choice
There's half
slime.
kill Kurumi against slime. Yeah, fuck slime. You fuck on slime. Finn and Jake.
Yeah,
Need I
Finn and
say
Jake.
more?
Yeah. You need a med kick
Is this
counter, you
card-
have it.
Is this card cat trait?
No. It is date elemental.
Besides,
Wow.
it wouldn't matter. It's that I'm pretty sure the cat card says. Let me double check here.
Your
If your
opponent,
opponent
has
has a cat card.
yeah.
So
Oh,
you
that
can
would've
have
been
as
the mirror
many
breaker.
cats as you want. You can have as many cats as you want. Just hope your opponent doesn't change of heart, steal your cat, then you're fucked.
Oof.
Jesus Christ, change of heart. Okay. Andy, go ahead.
We got this card as shift or alarm. During your turn, if you have 2 or more other characters, this gets 4K, so it is 11K on turn. And if this card is on the top of your clock and you have a data or elemental character at the beginning of your climax step, choose one of your characters, and for the turn, that character gets the ability. When you reverse your opponent, you can put that character to your opponent's stock, and then the bottom card of their stock to waiting room. So you can, like, stock kick something.
Don't like it. Don't like it. This is
on the
actually
top of
really
your
bad. It has
It's
to be
weird.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be wanting to give this sort of effect to a 2/1 like this. Like, it'd be wanting to give it to itself to, like, answer a
But it's an
2/2
alarm
or something with
ability.
Encore.
I think it's just
like-
bad. It's a common.
Mhm.
It's card number 22. Not good.
Mhm.
All right, last yellow card, Brandon. You got it.
All right, we got what is, again is one of the worst cards in this set. It's card triple left here. You may an event that you may put a card from your hand to the bottom of your clock. So you play this card minus yourself to take a damage. And if you do, search for 2 Kurumis and add them to your hand. So literally, you play this card. It's like a cantrip, sort of. It's like, so you lose the event and you minus a card in your hand to take a
To
damage.
get 2
search
Kurumis,
2.
yeah.
This
Oh,
card
that's
is
not a cantrip.
absolute-
That's a double tutor. The pioneers used to ride these babies for miles.
no.
No, wait. Andy's right. Wait. There is a case for this card. On your finisher turn, you could search 2 copies of your finisher while putting a specific card into your clock for your finisher's damage condition. I think that's how this card's intended to be used. Do I think that makes it worth playing the card? Probably not. But that is a case. If you're playing the level 1 Kurumi Climax combo, you can also use this to rip your Climax combos out of deck. Which is cool.
Hold the fuck on. Like, this actually doesn't seem that bad. It's a magical girl appears basically, right? But
First of all,
free.
it's an event. So you have to
you
draw
bond
into
to
it.
it.
No.
No, you can't bond. There's no bond. You have to draw into this event that if you're running more than like 2 of, you're like a super idiot. And
He's right.
Ouch. That hurt, Brandon.
I don't think it's a good card. I don't think it's a completely useless triple F tier, but I don't think it's a good card.
you're literally damaging yourself.
It's a costless
They're
double
Taking
search.
damage is a mixed play. That's why Ricky's are bad, huh? Like
No, but
Ricky's
that's a
fucking
bod-
plus
that's a
you.
body
Yeah,
on
that's
board
literally
that
plus
search.
you. Yeah,
It's
it's a very very different use case.
This is This is
absolutely
this is
hate
the
this
same
card.
rate. This is the same rate as Magical Girl appears.
It's yes from deck. Yes.
It's a 2 for 2. It's a selective 2 for
Yeah.
2, but this is not a 2/1 event. This is a 1/0 event.
Magical Girl appears are
Yeah.
like reactive cards, though. That's like why that they can be good. Like the one in Simfigure that's seeing play right now in Japanese. Like that's like a perfect use case for why Magical Girl appears can be good. I don't
For
know.
anyone who doesn't know what a Magical Girl appears is, it's a fucking event card.
Usually
an Overlord
salvage 2,
trial
ditch
deck.
1.
Yeah, 2/1, ditch a card, salvage 2, or search 2, or whatever. But like those see like fringe play.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
but again, the whole
And those
whole
are 2
point
ones.
is
They don't come online until like level
there's-
2. This is a
you
1/0.
only run. My belief again with these events, because it's an event. If you have nothing to bond with it, you have to run a whole bunch of them. So you need to draw into them because you can't bond to them. So this card's just overall bad, and then you're just cantrip. You're searching. It's not a cantrip; it's a search, but you're damaging yourself to do it. Also, when you can just brainstorm, or you're running the choice deck, so you'll probably be adding them to your hand because they're soul triggers. If you're going for your finisher.
You can use it at level 1. You can get your level 1 combo. You can get anything.
Oh
That's
wow!
a Kurumi.
Are we done? Can we go on to like green
Yeah.
after this? Are
Yeah.
we done?
Hey, put your rating in this card.
Okay.
All right. We will
Yeah,
see you
dude.
guys in
Of
green.
course, you give it a C.
I don't think it's that bad. The card's not that bad.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you have to take damage. Imagine clocking for turn. Draw 2 cards.
Imagine clocking.
Clock for turn, draw 2 cards. Does it every time. Clock yourself, search 2. Unplayable. FFF.